Hey, Matt,
Tiger.
welcome to House Calls, the podcast.
Well, thanks for having me, buddy.
Today is our special 4th of July episode.
Yes, it is.
So it's coming out the Wednesday before 4th of July, the 250th anniversary of our country.
B- Do
And
you think that's a big number, or do you think that's a small number?
I think it's a big number for us, but it's a small number in the history of civilization.
Sure.
And civilizations. I mean, 250 years is not much. So
Right.
I think sometimes people get negative. You're like, well, maybe it's just growing pains. Like we're in the teenage years, you know?
It's
I,
getting
I
warmed
think
up.
people get too down on the way things are going sometimes. Which you led me off. Well, first I want to mention tonight we have special guests. We are interviewing Lila Waldron, who's finished her second year at the Naval Academy, and
Correct.
Finnley Dancy, who finished her first year at West Point.
That's right.
So that gets you thinking like patriotism, the ability at when they started the process, 17 years old, to commit to a service academy is super cool.
Very cool.
It also fits in with the house calls, the podcast. Like we tend to kind of like talking about people who do hard things and
Yep.
accomplish things, and just making it through your first year and then your second year, that's accomplishing a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. And the other thing is, they started before they were 17. I
Yeah.
mean, they made the final decision when they were 17, but jumped through all the hurdles. I mean, it's a multi-year commitment just to get there.
So I have this quote in my mind and it makes me think of them whenever I see it. But in Mission Barbecue, which I love Mission Barbecue, but there was a quote from General Marshall, who was the head of the military in World War II. And he said, I have a very important mission. Get me a West Point linebacker. And you basically
Right.
know what that means. They're smart enough to get into one of the military academies. They're tough enough because they made it through. And then you add that extra thing that they're a linebacker. And it's like those people just being at a service academy, it is going to open up any job. That person is capable and they're
Yep.
gritty. Okay. I'm not saying any job. I'm saying any job that needs some intelligence and some hardworking grit. Right.
And teamwork. Yeah.
And I think that's something our podcast likes to explore is what are some other things? Like maybe not everybody's meant to go to a service academy, but how do you demonstrate in your life in the future how you demonstrate hard work and grit? That's something for you to think about for future guests.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Well, back to your West Point linebacker. Wasn't Shane Gillis recruited there to go play linebacker at West Point?
He was. He,
But he
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 didn't
didn't make
make
it.
it.
So
Yeah.
okay. But I was going to say about the service academies and the grit and things like that. There's also the patriotism side of it, right?
Yes. Yeah. And our Instagram has been kind of doing a lead up to the 250th, kind of being like reasons to be patriotic kind of thing.
Proud to be American.
And
Yep.
you mentioned one of the first things. We haven't been around that long. So some of these things are growing pains if you study world history. But I saw something great. I just saw a reel by the comedian, now that we're all talking about Shane Gillis and comedians, Bill Maher, who basically said, be careful not to compare America to the utopia you have in your mind. Like, and a lot of people are comparing America to this utopia in their mind and not realizing that you take the good and the bad. And then I'm going to quote Mark Twain. You love your country all the time. You love your government when they deserve it. Don't confuse loving your country and loving the people with loving the government all the time. You're going to love the government sometimes, you're going to not love them so much other times.
I think it's good.
Joining a service academy is huge, and maybe that's not for everybody, but I think you can be patriotic by making your place a better place. So whether that is making your family better, your community better, or your country better, it's okay to start small and be like, as long as you're pitching in and you're doing the best you can to make where you are better, I think that's an act of patriotism.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And
And I have
I
a story to
strongly,
tell, of course.
of course. I'm going to sit here and have a Twizzler, and I'll just wait for you to why don't you just cue me when I can talk? Okay.
I sent you my intro. So my story is, we have a series of nature trails in our community, right? And it was established by Billy Molden, who was our guest last week, 30 years ago. Okay. And in the last bit, it's falling into disrepair. And last year, somebody wrote a blog that was very nice, sweet blog, but it mentioned that, hey, nobody's keeping up with this trail, thinking that there was this magic staff of paid people who fixed the trail. And it's not. It's a trail that's kept up by volunteers. So one example of volunteers was James Corcoran fixed a bridge when he did his Eagle Scout project. Twins of who happen to be related to one of our guests tonight, they fixed a bridge a couple years ago. Then Billy Molden took a group of men in honor of Brennan Coppinger and fixed a bunch of bridges a week or two ago. And it's just a point that when you walk through something and you say, this needs to be done, it's okay to blog about it. Maybe that's important to point it out, but it's really the people who step up and do it that are what makes communities go, families go, and countries go, is people who are volunteering, kicking in. And that's really what our guests tonight did. They signed up, they volunteered. It is rigorous to get into those schools, but they still volunteered. And boom, no matter how much you looked away and rolled your eyes, I closed the loop.
You landed the plane beautifully, like you always do. And that's a great intro to our guest tonight.
So, Ty,
Yes.
welcome to our 4th of July episode.
I'm excited. We've had some technical difficulties. I've been sitting here for 20 minutes. Finnley and Lila have been to 3 different locations. I don't know where we're sending them next, but I'm excited to know. I mean, maybe they'll be paddleboarding on the Severn and podcasting from there. I don't know.
I don't know. They might be in a secret location. I don't know if we have security clearance to know exactly where they are, but I'm just excited to say that the tech issues were not you.
Okay.
For a change. So that was huge. That was
Yep.
huge. So it only took us 250 years to get to this point. And I'm proud to be an American right now. I think that's all I really want to say.
Yeah, I am too.
So we're here on the 4th of July episode with 2 Patriots.
Tom
Finnley
Brady
Dancy.
and Teddy Bruschi.
Brushy. Yeah. No, unfortunately, they're busy. But no, instead we got Finnley Dancy, who just finished her first year at West Point, and my niece, Lila Waldron, who just finished her second year at the Naval Academy. Girls, welcome to House Calls, the podcast. It's an honor. It's a privilege to finally get you two together to talk about your journey so far and how you've gotten here.
Thank you for having us. We're super excited to come on the podcast today. I know I am. Lila's been talking about it like for every single
Oh, I
week
know.
leading up to it, so
I
we're
know.
really
She-
excited.
I
She's
love to
been-
talk.
She does.
really
She does.
love to
She's been
talk.
like scratching at my door going, please, Babu, please let me on there. I want to talk.
Both of you guys look great. Tan, healthy, everything.
You guys are college girls, and let's talk about how you guys chose your respective academies. I mean, we were talking earlier at the intro, like a lot of kids decide where they want to go in their senior year. Obviously, that's not the case to go into the service academies. When was the seed planted, do you think, for you, Lila?
For me, I would say like growing up around Annapolis, I always knew what Navy was. Um, but it wasn't until I would say like elementary school when I really started figuring out like what it was and what I wanted. Um, because like growing up, I had like I have a different family, and so things are constantly things are constantly like the routine's never the same, things are constantly changing.
Correct.
And that's one thing that I really liked about the Naval Academy was the structure and tradition, and you have formation every day at 7, and that's not going to change. So I think that's part of the reason I really liked it, and I just
got
wanted
it.
to I wanted to fly too. So
So my research tells me that Lila's grandfather did go to West Point, and her great-grandfather was a graduate of the U.S. Naval Academy.
great.
How about you, Finley? When did you start thinking about a career in this way?
I think that it first kind of presented itself to me as an option through lacrosse. Because I went through my lacrosse recruiting season, and the academies can reach out to you first on July 1. So I honestly was really looking at Navy. I really wanted to go to Navy, and that was my number one for a while. And growing up, like she said, around Navy, going to lacrosse camps, soccer camps. And then I remember I was like at the short forward store for a snack that day, and I got a call on my phone, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, this is Navy, like, this is a big deal." I, like, step away to go take the call, and I pick up the phone, and I'm like, "Hello?" And it's like, "This is Michelle Tumalo from Army," and I'm like, "Oh my gosh, like, why are they calling me?" I, like, didn't even know what Army was really at first, and, um, then I got a call later that day from Navy, and I had both the conversations with coaches, and then I kind of started to explore a little bit more, but honestly, when I made the decision to go to West Point, I wanted to my parents were pushing for me to look into the academies, and I think my dad always wanted to serve, and he never really got that opportunity to, and so it was neat to learn more about the academies as well. But also it's like Lila too, she'll know this, but it's super challenging, and the things that you go through at the academies and the things that I would learn, I knew that it was just gonna make me a better person and the person that I wanted to ultimately become, so, um, yeah, and also I really wanted to play lacrosse. The lacrosse team's amazing at West Point, and I love my team and my coaches and the people also make the place, but
Yeah, but let's be honest, you two are already amazing before you went to these academies. It's just putting icing on the cake.
So my question for Lila, because her interest started so early, you know that that's a very rigorous school to get into. Did it ever, like, when you're studying for a test, were you ever like, "Man, I gotta get a good grade so I can go to a school like Naval Academy," for both of you guys? Was that ever in the back of your mind to be like, "I need to get into a competitive school," and those are out there as if you have a specific school you wanna go to that's an academy, you know you gotta do well. Was that ever in the back of your mind?
Always for me.
Uh-huh.
Um, yeah, I put a lot of stress and, like, pressure on myself, academically in high school, and, like, I was thinking about playing lacrosse, but I knew I wasn't good enough to use lacrosse as a way to not, like, use lacrosse as a way to get in, but have it aid me in a way that, like, other people did. So, I've spent a lot of time focusing on my academics so that I could get in solely based off of that, and I think that's what helped me.
And they also liked you for lacrosse, and you were also a national merit scholar and all sorts of good stuff. So you're kind of smart. You kind of got it all going on, kid.
Yeah, she does.
Yes,
Now,
you do.
did you guys, like, have any mentors or anything that you were talking to be like, "Hey, this is what a different college looks like, and this is what an academy." Did anybody stop you and give you advice?
I mean, at least for me, as you're going through the process to apply to the school, there are a bunch of different kind of people and like steps that you take to get in. So I had someone who had graduated from West Point, and he was kind of my mentor throughout the whole thing. And before I would have my nomination interview, he would talk to me and be like, "You're committed right now for the sport, but you're not into the school. Like they want to make sure that you're going to the school for other reasons other than lacrosse. Like, that's what the whole process is about because they don't just let you in automatically. You still have to work for it even if you're an athlete or, like, anything really. So, um, but, like, yeah, they kind of steer us in that direction and, um, yeah, like, he was very helpful.
But Finley, your journey was a little bit different, right? I mean, everything that Dancy's do is a little bit different. Um, but so you're in your senior year of high school playing lacrosse, and you tear your ACL. Ties that a HIPAA violation?
It's
Yeah.
not, she signed a HIPAA waiver, but,
Okay.
for most schools, you tear your ACL and you're going to the school and you're doing your rehab while they're doing fall ball, and maybe you play a little, practice a little bit in the spring, and then maybe they decide to redshirt you. Army was totally different. Like, they're like, "Hey, come next year, maybe." So, what was that process like?
I mean, honestly, I was so upset whenever I tore my ACL, but it became kind of a blessing in disguise, and I think once you go through an injury and a process of I mean, you would know, Dr. House, but, like, when you go through something like that, it kind of teaches you what you can and can't do and, like, really shows you who, you can get through it and get past it. But I tore it, and then I went to CU Boulder for a year, which was really fun, and I got to kind of live the normal college experience. I babysat, I nannied, I worked, and
You played a
I
sorority too, right?
I did. I was in Delta Gamma at CU Boulder. Um, yes, it was really fun. Like I made some of like really close friends who were still gonna come visit me here this summer in Sherwood, and, I mean, it was a great experience, and it was also nice to kinda take that year to spend a little bit more time with my family. But yeah, I tore my ACL, and then I had to reapply to school and do the entire application process again. They had me sign a document that said if I got into the academy, I didn't have a choice and I had to go. So, because they helped support me and pay for part of my classes at CU, which was a really also neat opportunity.
Was there any second thoughts, like, when you're at Colorado and you're having so much fun to be like, "Huh, do I wanna give this up for this huge challenge?" Or you were 'cause, I mean, that's not a sign of weakness to say that you considered staying at Colorado.
No, completely. I never even thought about it. I knew the whole time, even right when I toured it, we had that call with my coach, and I was like, "Yeah, I won't be able to make it this summer." She was like, "You're gonna get here next year." There was no doubt in her mind, and there was never any doubt in mine. I knew I wanted to go there, and that was where I would end up being. And it did. I mean, she'll know too. It's super hard to get through the process of applying to the academies with medical kind of deficiencies. And it took even longer for me to get in because they have to sort through everything and make sure it's all good. And I mean, it took a while, but I'm glad I made it through.
Lila, you were a little bit different situation as you have friends who are a year ahead of you, have gone to college, and then, you're probably staying connected with them. Did you ever have second thoughts to be like, "Ooh, what am I getting into? I just heard my friend had a great time at whatever college."
Yeah, every day of my plebe year.
Okay.
Because well, the thing for me was I got waitlisted at Navy.
Uh-huh.
So I had a deposit down at Notre Dame. I was going there.
Okay.
Um, and I didn't find out till May 22nd. I got a call from the senator and he told me I got in. Um, so I had a month before leaving for plebe summer. I had beach weekend there, so I was really having a lot of fun with friends and family. And then I got to plebe summer and it was just a total it just total shock. It hit me like a bus.
Okay.
Um and during the summer I was like, "Oh my gosh, I could be in Sherwood right now. I could be going to Notre Dame." But then I think being waitlisted that really broke my heart. I thought I didn't get in. I was absolutely devastated, but I think I needed that because that's what got me through the summer. Every day I was like, I would have done anything to be where I am right now. And that's what also got me through plebe year was yeah, you could be in Notre Dame having fun, but like I couldn't really see myself anywhere else. It sucks, but I didn't want to be anywhere else.
But I think it probably resonated and made it even more real and knew that you
Exactly.
made the right decision,
Yeah.
going through all that because there was a part of me when, especially when Finley was in her year at CU and like you said, you're doing all your post-graduation, high school beach week, things like that. I kept thinking about the Amish people that do that Rumspringa, when they all go out and go nuts and then some come back and they commit themselves to the life. Some do not. And I'm like, "That's gonna be a tough change," but I think it was good for both of you in a different way that you guys both said, "Yeah, this is the path I wanna keep going down." Good luck to everybody who's not doing it, but, this is where I wanna go. It was a nice silver lining to those clouds, the wait list and the torn ACL.
Yeah.
And then what happened when you got there? Tell us, be summer, plebe summer. I mean, they're legendary. So, what are your comments on that?
You go
Lila, you
first.
go first because yours was, in typical not on the straight path, way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I got there. I don't really ever get yelled at or growing up I've always been a big rule follower, never got in trouble at
Nerd.
school. So that was my first time really getting yelled at. And the first 3 days were absolutely miserable. I was just freaking out, holding back tears, and then we had the third day of Sleep Summer. We had this thing called an IPRT, which is every year you have to take two of these, one per semester, where it's a mile and a half run and then push ups and uh, a plank. And so third day into plebe summer, we did a mock PRT. Um, and we did the push-ups, we did the plank, and then all 1,000 of us plebes start running. And it's this all of us into this tiny little funnel into a road. And I got tripped at the first 10 seconds of the run. Um, Someone came from behind me and tripped me. I got up and I kept running and I finished and I looked down. I think the adrenaline just, like, just kept me going. I had blood, like, running all down my leg, my wrist was throbbing, but I maxed it, which is, like, you get, like, the fastest time or whatever. Um, so my detailers, like, took me back to, like, I guess, like, the doctors, you could call it, and they put a Band-Aid on my knee, like, didn't even look at it. I told them my wrist hurt, they're like, "You're fine." Um, and then pretty much I go throughout the whole week, I'm still doing push-ups, I'm still doing everything everyone else is doing, like, I'm in so much pain, though, and finally on Friday, I think it was I don't know what day it was actually, but it was 5 days later. We do the O course, which is like the obstacle course, which is like monkey bars, ropes, like all this stuff. And I get to the top of the rope, like climb it, and my whole like front wrist up goes numb. And I was like, okay, like something's wrong. So finally, they took me back to the doctor. I broke my wrist. Um, and they put stitches in my knee, and I went through the rest of the summer with a cast and a bandaged up knee. But yeah.
And you were able to do all plebe summer, basically bandaged up?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So I was able to do pretty much everything besides the one thing that got me, this is so irrelevant, but they wouldn't let me go sailing, which was during plebe summer, everyone loves sailing because that's like
Sure.
the 2 or 3 hours where there's no detailers around you, and, they wouldn't let me go on because I had a cast, so that was yeah, but that's the only thing I could really do.
I think when you live on the Severn River, to get a boater's license, you need to be able to go through the sailboats at plebe summer, go through at full speed and get to the destination, say Cantlers to get crabs, safely without getting anybody on your
That's fair.
boat wet. And if you don't pass that test, you don't get your boat driver's license. That's just my humble opinion.
That's important. But
Yeah.
I'll tell
Yeah.
you, no sidebar. This is actually on point. Ty should try it sometime. That I see, everybody should go to I Day, and I Day is induction day. And when I went to Lila's, our whole family went. It was the first time I've ever seen it, and it was powerful. It was powerful seeing these 17-year-olds that were scared out of their mind. Their family, everyone's scared, but you knew it was like these guys are special, and it really it's something that you should see. I can't put into words how amazing that experience was. So, all right, Finley,
Now
good luck. What do you got?
now, Finley, what is your like, you're heading into beast summer. You've lived with Hook and Bodie, so, I mean, h how can it be that hard compared to that, you know? So, what was your, like, welcome to the army moment at during beast summer?
Ugh, that's what I was telling myself. I really thought I'd be fine, like, with how my dad raised me and my brothers and even my sister, like, I honestly, people tell you so many things about what you're going to expect and what it's gonna be like, but you only really know whenever you get there. Um, but I remember put you all in this room and you have your bag and everything, and then they stand up and they're like, "Okay, you have 60 seconds to say goodbye." So, like, that's when it kind of all really hit me, and I was like, "Oh my gosh, like, I'm really not gonna see my family for a while," because at Navy, they say goodbye, and then they get to do, like, a picnic after their first day. For us, it's just, like, you get sent in there, and you're just fed to the lions, and you're just that's it. So, I said goodbye, I gave my hugs, and we got in line, and honestly, like, that first day, it's all just, like, nerves, and you're running around everywhere getting all your stuff and gear. You go through, like, medical processing, um, and it's a lot more scary than you think it is, but also I also think I'm so traumatized thinking back in my head, I can't even remember all the details, but it, like it changes your perspective on things in a way that, like, I at least for me, it was definitely rough waking up at, like, 4 AM, 4:30 every single morning and not going to bed till 10 or 9, but, um like, it makes you really appreciate what you have and, like, the little things in every single day, like, some days were hard, but I remember, like, waking up in the morning and the sunrise being so great, and I'm like, "Wow, like, sunrise is pretty, like, hopefully today's gonna be okay," and, like, you'd look for the little things or you'd look forward to the next meal is, like, really important. But for me, we did things like land navigation, where you would walk around for 6 hours and try and find 3 out of 5 points with just a map, a compass, and a protractor and a pen. We did BRM, which was like shooting, and you got to shoot targets, and then you'd do it from like a prone position. You'd go kneeling, standing, and you'd see how many like shots you could get out of 40, which was really cool. And it's like, where else are you gonna have the opportunity to be able to just do that and zero in your gun and like everything? I mean, it's really, yeah.
Was that the first time you were testing your knee? Like, did you have any anxiety, like, "Is my knee gonna be able to hold up?" Like, that's kind of a big deal when you're coming off of a knee injury.
I was so nervous. I was so stressed because I know that, like, even if you get hurt Lila was super lucky that it was her wrist, but, like, at West Point, if you get hurt in any way and you miss a certain amount of like, more than 72 hours, then you're done. Like, you get sent home. So I'm like, "If I hurt my knee again, I can't go home again." So I was really nervous, and then I think it got to a point where I was like, "I think I need to just push through and get through it." And what I think the hardest thing for me with my knee was rucking. Like, I don't think I realized like, going to West Point and driving around, you don't realize how hilly it is until you get there, and you're
Right.
literally rucking with 60 pounds on your back, uphill, downhill for, like, 12 miles. So I think
Wow.
that
So
was the hardest thing on my knee, but yeah, it
going back into entering your individual summers, I remember being with Lila before she went and talking to her, and the the anxiety that other people were putting on her, like, who were going, "Oh my god, are you so nervous? Oh my god, why, are you sure?" I mean, Violet and I were talking, I was like, "I can't believe people were, like, saying that," but I think people don't know what to say in those situations. Did you experience that also, Finley? And did you guys use that as motivation, as one of those tough days and you're like, "You know what? This neighbor didn't think I could do it," or "This guidance counselor didn't think I should be doing this. I'm gonna show them."
at least for me, yeah, I feel like a lot of times people don't know what to say, and they also kind of wanna know what you're thinking and what you're
Right.
feeling. I think I always use it as a way to kind of reassure myself, and I'd be like, "It'll all work out, like, this too shall pass, like, everything happens for a reason, and it'll get through." But honestly, in a way, it does kinda give you a little bit of motivation to work harder and be like, "Wow,
Sure.
maybe people don't think I could get through here, and I wanna prove to them that I will and prove to myself that I can too, even if you had doubts." So, yeah.
For me, it was more of like, I'm gonna do it for them. Like, I don't really care what anyone else thinks. I know I can do it, and that's all that matters, and I wanna prove to myself that I can do it, so I'm gonna show them that I can do it too.
Oh,
Mhm.
that's perfect.
Yeah.
So, if you guys have listened to all 79 episodes, you know that Matt and I have a disagreement. He says that we are pro bullying, and then
We
I
are.
get embarrassed and like, we're not pro bullying, but what he means is we're pro positive bullying. Now, plebe summer, beast summer, there's obviously bullying. There's yelling at you, there's beating you down, and basically to make sure that you can take it, to toughen your skin, I'm assuming. So there is bullying. Tell us about that part. Like, I guess it's pro bullying. It's what Matt wants to do with his life.
I've been doing it already. I've been doing it with you. You're my toughest case, though.
For us, it is, like, a lot of yelling at you, but it's also just so, like, you experience it, you know what it really is like in the real Army and real Navy. We have funny stories. I don't do have I mean, for us, at least, we always had to have our socks pulled up as high as they could, like, no matter what, and we always were wearing black socks. And either you were, like, reading your knowledge book and passing it off, which means you just, like, read, and then you, like, read a blurb, and then you have to say it to your person, and they sign it off, and you have to pass off the whole knowledge book before the end of the summer. We had a knowledge book. But I had a friend in my company who was also on the lacrosse team, and you're not allowed to speak to anyone at West Point. When you're moving or walking, like, your head is completely down, your hands are cupped, you're not issued fingers, so your hands are literally like this the entirety of your play year. And I remember one day we were, like, waiting for a brief, so we're, like, head and eyes straight down, like, our hands are cupped, we're just standing there. My socks are pulled all the way up, like, I did not wanna get in trouble for my socks being pulled down. And my friend Mara regularly, she was standing right behind me, and she, I think whispered something in my ear, but I didn't hear it, and she just uses her shoes and she pushes my socks down with her,
Oh,
sneakers, and I'm freaking out because you can't move, you're stuck there in that position. And so the cadre are, like, walking back and forth, like, inspecting us, looking at us, like, to see what's wrong, and I'm like I start shaking my head, I'm like, "Oh, no, like, this is it for me, like, I'm done, I don't know what's gonna happen." They come by, and you're not a cadet yet, you're a new cadet, so they come by and they're like, "New Cadet Dancy, like, what's wrong with your socks?" And I'm like, "No excuse, because 'cause you're only allowed to say 4 things. No excuse, sergeant, sir, ma'am, sir, yes, sir, ma'am, sir, no, sir, and sir, and no there's one more. No
No
excuses, sir."
excuse.
Oh, I don't
I'll
know.
find out.
I don't know, sir, ma'am, sir. And so I turned around and I was like, "No excuse," or whatever. They say, "Motivate your socks." And so when you motivate your socks, you can't reach for them until they tell you that you can reach to motivate your socks. So to motivate your socks, you just have to start yelling at them to get up until they think that you have yelled at them enough. So they're like, "Motivate your socks, new cadet." And I'm like, "Come on, socks, like you got it. Like we gotta get up right now. Like please get up." And Mara is losing her shit behind me. Like, sorry, I don't know, losing it. Like she couldn't control herself. I think she had to go to the bathroom and request to go to the bathroom because she couldn't handle what was going on. I'm like, please get up. Like, come on. They're like, all right, new could I like pull up your socks, like, and get back to like parade rest or something? And I'm like, like shaking my head and I'm
That's
so
amazing.
embarrassed. Yeah. So I mean, that's like one little blurb of like the crazy things that we had to do. I don't know if you have a story
Yeah.
like that, but
I have so many. I think one of the funniest ones was we were practicing drill, which is like marching with your rifles, and uh, I was really bad at it. Like I was horrible. Like I just could not move my rifle around, and I had like two detailers come up to me, and they're like trying to tell me like how to do it, and they're like, when you do this movement, you have to slap your rifle, and they're like, do you have a brother? And I was like, yes, sir. And they're like, do you ever want to hit him? And I was like, no, sir. And they were like, why not? Like, what's wrong with you? And I was like, I said, sir, he has autism. And they were like,
Oh my gosh.
and everybody was like dying laughing because I made them so uncomfortable by saying that. I was like, no, I don't
Speaking
want
the
to hit
truth.
him.
You're
Oh
just
my
speaking the
gosh.
truth.
Yeah.
Frankie saves the day once
He
again.
did. He saved me. And they were like, do you have a sister? And I was like, yep. And they're like, do you want to hit her? And I was like, absolutely. And so I think that was one of the funny because I was dying laughing. They were so uncomfortable. And all my other, like, my classmates were like also dying laughing. So I
Oh,
think
that's
that was really
great.
funny. Yeah.
And then that is incredible. But once the summer ends, it keeps going, right? It's your whole first year that now you're a college student. You got to do all the schoolwork, and you're also getting abused. Is that how it works?
For at least for me, they kind of pull off a little bit, like, so what you still can't do when you're outside, your hands still have to be cupped when you're walking as a plebe. You can't speak to any of your friends. You can only really speak if you're spoken to, and then when you're inside, you have to square all of your corners, meaning, like, you have to stay on the side of the wall, and whenever you turn a corner, you literally have to, like, do a perfect square with your feet on every corner, and they will yell at you if you're not like, you're not allowed to be on the inside of the stairs, you have to stay to the outside of the stairs. So, I mean, there's still, like, rules in place, but they can't really smoke you, which means they can't, like, make you do push-ups if you mess up or something, like, it's kind of pulled back a little bit more.
We still had to do push-ups and stuff. Like, the first day to school, we have rules, like, similar like that, like, we have to walk on the outside, we have to, like, square corners, we had to chop everywhere, which is, like, high knees. And we couldn't walk on the curved paths. Like, we had to walk on the straight paths of Stribling. And first day of school, I forgot, and I walked on the curved path. And then I had, like, an upperclassman come up to me that afternoon, and he was like, "Hi, Miss Waldron." And I was like, "Hi." And he was like, "Do you know what you did today?" And I was like, "Yep, I finished my first day of school." And he was like, "Nope, you walked on a curved path." And I was like so I had to do, like, I don't know, it was like 50 push-ups, and then I was good, but
Now, is there somewhere where there's like a list of all these rules, or they just kind of tell you and beat it into you as you're going?
we have a book, it's called, like, mid-regs, like, midshipman regulations, but no one really reads it, you kinda just, like, figure it out as
Learn
you
it.
go.
Yeah.
Yeah, completely, like,
Now,
we
let
have
me
a
ask you,
list of yeah.
the first time you guys were off campus, did you guys square corners? Did you when you were in your civilian clothes? Or
I
it was
mean,
like ingrained, like you couldn't shake it?
I remember whenever we would always go up because the lacrosse facility, whenever we'd go play lacrosse, that was a fallout zone, so we didn't have to kind of act the same way. We were just with our teammates, they weren't upperclassmen, it was just normal, and a lot of us, like, forgot, so we'd be walking across the lacrosse field, like, with our head down, our hands cupped, and they're like, "You guys, you're good, like, we're going to go play lacrosse right now, like, you don't need to be doing that," and we all, like, had no idea we were doing it, it was just, like, engraved in what, like, we were doing every single day, so taught.
Is there any place like your dorm room or your hall where it's kinda like just normal? Or even on your hall, is it like a normal college, you're on your hall, you might have a roommate, you go into your next door neighbor's room and you're just chilling out and hanging out. Is that the same at the academies? Like, is your room private or your hall private, or you're always on?
For us at least, we had to keep our doors open until we signed taps, which was at 9 and you go to bed. So I mean upperclassmen and we live with our company. So you could have seniors living or firsties living next to you. You could have plebes living next to you. So there's just people walking around all the time. So yeah, your door had to be open, your shirt had to be tucked in at all times.
But how about when you
Yeah.
use the ladies' room? How did that work out for you?
Oh, one of our punishments was the buddy system. So you couldn't be alone. So you would have to bring a buddy with you everywhere you went. So yeah, if you had to go to the bathroom, you either had to hold it or you had to find a friend.
Okay.
But then some people started missing class because they couldn't find anyone to walk them to class, so they stopped it.
Okay. So when did you first notice, like, you're like, "I'm comfortable, I get this," like, or are you not there yet? Like, when
Not there yet.
okay. But as an upperclassman, like, it's different, right?
It is different. This year was definitely way better.
Okay.
But I'm still learning a lot. I still don't know all the rules, and I think, especially this year, your second class year is more of like a training year where you really step into the role of training the plebes and, like, forming them into, like, a good class and teaching them a good values. So I think this year's gonna be a lot different because last year I was still, like, an underclassman, so I still had to follow a decent amount of rules, but yeah.
So is it kinda like, your first 2 years, you learn to follow orders, and your second 2 years, you learn some about leadership, or how does that work?
I mean, yeah, I think plebe year really is the one where you just say yes, you listen, and you
You're
do
not
what
a
you're told.
person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, they call youngster year, like, the invisible year or forgotten year. Like, nobody really cares what you do as long as you
Okay.
don't do it.
Right.
And then, yeah, second class year is more of like a training year, where you're in charge of training the plebes. First class year is, I mean, from what I've heard, is like you're getting yourself ready to commission and become the best version of like an officer for yourself. So you step into you're definitely in a big leadership role, but you're just really focused on becoming an officer and what you can do to, be the best for your sailors and Marines.
So, Lila, where do you see yourself going in your career after the Naval Academy? What would be your ideal first post out of college?
Right now, I mean, growing up, I always wanted to be a pilot, and I
Right.
think that's still my number one right now, Navy pilot. But oops, um, but I've also been considering Marines. I think that would be a really cool opportunity and a challenge, and I like to challenge myself. So
Does your
What about you,
major
Finley?
does your major change on, like, what you wanna be? Like, if you wanna be a pilot, are you a different major than if you wanna be a something else? A captain?
no, you could be any major, and it doesn't affect what you commission as.
How about you, Finley? Do you know what you wanna do, or is it too early?
So I picked my major last year and currently I'm international relations. And so at Army, like your major kind of does tie in a little bit more on like what you want to branch. It helps, like it can help. So like let's say someone was a life science major and they wanted to go into like medicine or the med corps, like that would help them a lot more.
Uh-huh.
Um, but for me, I'm looking more towards like military intelligence. So the IR international relations major will kind of help me in that direction. As well as like I'm thinking about logistics. That would be a neat branch. Aviation would be really cool, but I think that's a little bit of a reach for me. But field artillery is also really neat. There's so many options with the Army that I haven't really kind of narrowed myself down for one, and it's good to have more. But once you get to that end of your first year and you start having those interviews for each branch, that's whenever they can kind of pick. But it doesn't really depend solely on your major at all.
Yeah, because when I think of the Dancies, I think of logistics and on-time military precision. So no, I think that's gonna be a good one that you can install back home as well.
Finley, when you're on the lacrosse team, though, is that more normal, like, not the rank and everything? Like, when you're on the lacrosse field, is it freshmen, seniors, juniors, all treated the same? Like, is that a space where you are more in a normal situation?
Oh, completely. It's we call it, at least for us, Mikey Stadium's kind of like up the hill and then West Point's down the hill. So it's like whenever you're up the hill, you're up the hill. Like it's separated. The school's down the hill, lacrosse is up the hill. Like you're solely there for lacrosse, you're there for your teammates, you're there for your coaches. And honestly, like, I'm so close with the juniors, the seniors, like, the sophomores, everyone's just it doesn't really matter your age. They don't treat you like plebes on the lacrosse field. People like, we had freshmen that were starting this year, and they worked hard and earned that spot. Like, everyone is treated the same, if not, like, even more than you would assume, and we have awards that we give out. There's, like, a Baller of the Week award for, like, the person who work the hardest in practice and then the game changer. So our coaches really take the time to like see who contributes and like you can tell who does too.
And Lila, what did you do with your free time? What little free time you have? How did you kind of unwind to de-stress a little bit from the day to day?
I ran a lot. Um, I was the manager for the lacrosse team. Sorry.
So I get to.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I managed the lacrosse team. It was a really awesome opportunity. Um, yeah, that's
It was cool. We'd get to see each other at the games. Like we wouldn't text each other where we were, but I would show up and her team would be warming up and my team would be warming up and I'd like come out and I'd like be scanning around and she'd be like fixing the goal and I'd run over to the Navy side and I'd like tap her on the shoulder and be like, "Hey!" And they're all looking at me like, "What is she doing over here?"
Yeah.
And I'm like giving her a big hug and it's nice. It's cool.
And now you saw each other at the Army Navy game also, right? Football game?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
yes, yeah, we
We were lucky.
did.
We got to hang out the whole time.
Okay. That's not like top secret. You didn't have to run away from your assigned seat or anything to see each other? Because this is going national.
When Hegseth gets a hold of this,
Yeah.
it's will roll. Okay?
Now, are there different expectations for different students, like in plebe summer and in beast summer? Like, so is like maybe somebody gonna be treated differently? Like, if somebody's prominent, or maybe somebody's well known because they're a star football recruit, or something like that. Like, the reason I was thinking about this is I was listening to a podcast that Finley's dad told me to listen to about a guy who was a Navy SEAL and then he went to the Naval Academy, and his roommate was like, I forget, but maybe like a senator's son. So they kind of had a target. Like everybody wanted a piece of them because he was already a Navy SEAL. So are there different expectations for different students?
I would say that the expectation is pretty much the same for everybody, no matter
Uh,
what. But I would say, like you mentioned, football players, like they do get out of a lot of things, at least for a summer. They only had to do 3 weeks of beast, and there's 6 weeks in total. So after their 3 weeks, they start their fall or like their preseason training. So they start getting ready and they're fully done.
okay.
And then they have to make it up later at the end of the year. Same thing with like women's soccer. But if anything, the people who went to their prep year and were prior, so like you said, in the military before, I wouldn't say no one has it out for them, but if anything, people go to them for more help and stuff like that. Or if you're in the field or your cadre know, like they can handle themselves and they're kind of given a little bit more freedom because they already know what they're doing.
So that's somebody that maybe you would go to for advice.
Oh, completely.
Okay.
Like when I started my beast summer, I had a prepster in my room and she helped me with everything. Like there were so many things I didn't know and it was super nice to have her to kind of like guide me and be like, this is where this goes. This is how you wear this uniform and stuff like that. So honestly, it was so helpful.
Very cool. Now, do you have any like mentors who have been through it but are graduates that you reach out to occasionally?
Yeah, completely. My cousin, Chris Frederick, he
Uh-huh.
graduated from West Point and he was on the rugby team. And so it's super cool. This year, him and his wife and 3 kids, they came to visit me at a couple fall ball games and like they came for like a rugby reunion. So it's been super neat to hear about his experiences and my experiences. I also have a kind of sponsor slash unrelated uncle, Duke. And Duke Parker, he has been so amazing. He will text me, ask if I need anything. He'll let me come to his house and have dinner. He'll take me out and a couple girlfriends to dinner, and he bought season passes for both the men's and women's game for Army Lacrosse, and he's been a huge support, and it's cool, I mean, to hear about their experiences while they were at West Point and what it has and, like, what has and hasn't changed, and the big saying that everyone always likes to say if you're a graduate is "the core has," which means, like, the core has changed, and it's not the same as it is, and the core's bounced off, but, like, when I talk to them, they're always like, "The core has not." Like, "We know what you do the same things." Like, some things never change, and if anything, only good things that are changing or helping West Point and stuff like that, so
Love it.
Now, in our area, a lot of people sponsor midshipmen. So, Lila, you probably were around that. You probably saw people. Do you have a sponsor here, or was
Um,
your family your sponsor?
I have a bunch of unofficial sponsors. I don't I have well, I have a family friend who was he's an admiral. He was at the academy, and he's been just a good mentor, but he also will take me out to dinner sometimes on the yard. But I mean, honestly, like, half the forest is really my sponsor. Like, I'll text
Okay.
like, "Hi, can you please give me a ride?" Like, everyone's always so, like, helpful and kind and like, "Oh, do you need anything? Do you need me to drop you off?" Like, it's been really nice living in the area, and everyone in Sherwood is just so kind and
Do you
helpful.
get to see your family more than other people do? Like, so when other people
Yeah.
are going to see their sponsor, you could see your parents, right?
Yes, it
Okay.
kinda became a problem because I would
Because
go home
Uncle Matt
almost.
kept showing up and he's at like Sophie's Crepes at the gate trying to get in to see you. Was that awkward?
Couple, only twice.
Yeah.
Only twice.
I, um, I would go home pretty much every single weekend, and it got to a point where my parents were like, "Okay, Lila, you're in college, like, go do something on a Saturday."
Yeah.
But I really like going home, so I take advantage of it.
But what is the freedom like for you guys on the weekends your first year besides like going to like your sponsors? Do you have freedom to like go to town and do stuff?
So your first year, you get Saturdays after 12 to 12, and
Okay.
then, there's things called you can, like, take a weekend, and you're, granted, like, a certain amount per year. Um, so if you take the weekend, you can spend the night out Saturday and go back on Sunday. You have to be back by end of Liberty, which is normally 6. Um, so if you take the weekend, you get Saturday and Sunday. But first semester plebe year, if you don't take the weekend, you have to be it's called yard liberty. So you have to stay on the yard, but you can do whatever. You can go for a run, you don't have to be in your room the whole time.
Okay.
Uh, but each semester your liberty kind of gets more and more like unlocked. So after first semester, then you get Sundays. Then this year I got like Fridays. So you just get more and more as you go on.
Cool. So,
So
uh-huh.
I'm gonna
Yes, Matt.
freaking.
Okay. I'm just so curious. I
I
got
know
so
you
many
are.
questions.
I know you do. But just
Okay.
shut up for a couple minutes. Just take a break. Put your head
Okay.
down. Take a long
Okay.
nap. I'll take it from here. Um, and it's interesting because I'm like Ty. I do find all this stuff fascinating and living vicariously through both of you, and seeing how each academy does it a little bit different than the other one, but the goal and the mission is exactly the same. And the Army Navy football game is one of the greatest sporting events you'll ever go to or ever see. At the end, when everyone comes together, that's what it's really all about. But what I really want to get to, and this is the 4th of July episode, though, and you guys had great answers about why. And I found it interesting that patriotism or love of country wasn't like the top, your top reason for going. It's obviously there. Is that just and everything you do? I mean, is that's like, yeah, no duh. That's the reason I'm here, kind of thing, or is it you wanting to push yourself to be the best?
I think for me, it gives you like it's a good reminder and it gives you purpose. Like you know that you're doing it and it's like, yeah, you're working hard and you want to challenge yourself, but you're doing it for so much more than yourself. You're doing it for so many other people. And once you get out, you graduate, like you're gonna be in charge of a platoon. Like there are gonna be people looking to you to make decisions. And like at the academies, all they do is prepare you for that, like when it comes time for that hard decision. Like what are you gonna do? How are you gonna react? Like I don't know. It's really cool to think about, but I mean, we'll both get there at some point, so
I think also it just gives a different meaning. Like going in, I was, like, yeah, America, but
I what do you guys say? Hoorah or something?
yeah,
Yeah.
but like honestly, just going through everything at Navy and being around such amazing people and officers, like we'll be at lacrosse game and I'm, standing at attention for the pledge of, or national anthem, and it's just like you look at the flag and it's just like it just has such a different meaning now.
Absolutely.
And like 4th of July, Memorial Day weekend, Veterans Day, everything is just like I don't know how to describe it. It's just like a feeling inside that it's
Yeah.
just such a sense of pride, and it's like, wow, I'm doing this for the people before me. I'm doing it for people after me. Like It's just
I
a really
get it.
cool feeling.
And in all honesty, though, I feel that now more now that Lila's there. I do, because I look at it differently. Like anytime there's a world event or your dad and I are talking, like, yeah, the yard's locked down. I'm like, uh-oh. Like I look at everything a lot different now, knowing that you're there and Finley, but I definitely know what you're talking about. I feel better that Lila's there. I sleep a little bit better about that. It's hard to put into words, and I think you did a great job of
Yeah, you did.
articulating that.
So you're both incredibly patriotic, but also what confidence have you built just that you've done something so difficult? Not that you've graduated yet, but you've made it through your first year, Finley, and Lila, you've made it through 2 years. What confidence do you think that gives you going forward?
Honestly, like the things that it's hard to even, like you said, put into words like what you go through over the summer and honestly how much of a toll it takes mentally, physically. Like I just completed CFT cadet field training where it's also rigorous. Like there's more land navigation, BRM shooting, but land nav is now in the dark and at night. And then you have an FTX where you spend a couple nights in the field and you're just literally getting shot at the entire night, taking like shifts for sleeping where you get 2 hours each night. You're eating MREs, and she knows what MREs are. It's the delicious military food that they feed us.
Uh,
But I I think what it all comes down to is like at least at West Point, both schools probably is leadership. Like you learn so much from even just like people I've had in B squad leaders, PSGs, like my teachers at West Point, like they show you what good leaders can be and you learn from them and like you learn from maybe people in situations where you don't agree with like leadership and decisions that were made that it makes you want to push yourself and like you know what you want to become whenever you are put in a position like to be a leader and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like we are in good hands with you two eventually being leaders.
how do you handle the conversation with, say, like a sophomore in high school where you want to encourage them, but you want them to not take it lightly? Like, for instance, you don't want them to jump in thinking it's all going to be all rainbows and roses. Like, how do you handle that conversation? Has anybody ever come up to you and been like, "Oh, I wanna be in the Navy, go to Naval Academy like you." How do you say like, a perfect example would be when I was in medical school, they made the general surgery rotation super hard in medical school because they didn't want you to sign up for general surgery residency and not get it, that it was hard. So how do you have that conversation to let them know what they're getting into, but also encourage them?
To be completely honest, I am just like all like, you can do it. If I can do it, you can do it. I don't really discourage like anybody about like not being like saying it's hard. Like if they want to go, they'll know they want to go and they'll make it through the summer. And if it's not for them, it's not for them.
Uh-huh.
But I just like, yeah, I say, like it's a good opportunity. It's hard, but like if I can do it, you can do it. So
Okay. So
I don't
you're the
know.
optimist.
Yeah, I
Okay.
guess.
Finley, how about you?
I think that I mean, I agree with her. I think it's good. Encouragement is good, but it's also like reality. Like, if you get there and you can't do this one thing or you get really homesick, like, it's hard. There's no sugarcoating it. Like, both schools, like, you get there and it's not going to be easy. I think it's good to set the bar like how it is. And so they know. But also, I think a lot of times people that really like make it through to the end of these schools want a challenge. They want to push themselves. They want to be
Sure.
like the best version of themselves. So they want to do that. But I think people that don't look for the challenge and they wanna just have it easy, and I think that honestly it's not like the school that you go to. But most people wanna better themselves, and I think if you have a good mindset, good attitude, like, you can do whatever you want.
Love it. Love it.
And then what are you most excited for when you graduate during your commitment? Because it's 5 years, right?
Yes.
What are you excited about, or is it so far off you can't even think about it?
I'm excited whenever you graduate, there's a lot more opportunities as a second lieutenant. So you'll get stationed, you'll get to pick kind of where you're stationed based on your rank, and your branch that you decide to go into. But there's also a lot of cool opportunities to go to military schools. Like you can go to airborne school, you can go to mountaineering school. I don't think I most likely will not go to infantry school, but I mean, if you want to, you can go to infantry school, sapper school. Like there's even jungle school you can go to. We just had a girl from the women's team just graduate jungle school, which is really cool. It's in Hawaii. You learn how to live in the jungle for however many weeks. It's super impressive. So I think that'll be cool to try all these different schools, and they call it chest candy. So you get to like put stuff on your chest so people know where you've been and what you've done and kind of what you've been through. But I'm excited for that and to meet more people, like to finally be in charge of a platoon and put myself in those positions where I can learn.
So, Finley, are you going to be jealous though when Lila is like, "Oh, I'm in San Diego," or "Oh, I'm in Hawaii," and you're in Fort Rucker, Alabama, or Fort Bragg, North Carolina, or Fort Benning, Georgia, and it's 110 degrees, and like Finley's like in San Diego? Or are you worried about that at all?
I mean, I am, but the people make the place, so as long as I, like, know what I'm doing, I have purpose, I think that it'll all be worth it in the end, and time flies whenever you're having fun, so hopefully
I
it works
I
out.
am
Love
I
it.
am
Love
literally
it.
so impressed with both of you that I
Yeah.
am convinced that someday when Finley's a general and Lila's an admiral, I think we could get Matt a job as a civilian person who comes in and beats down the plebes and the cadets in first year, and you just harass them. I think Matt would be great at it, and you could open up that little civilian job
That-
because I don't think Matt can make it through, and he's already a college graduate, but he could do the harassment part and be great at it. And I think it would make our country stronger. If you seen
What's
how much he helped me, I think he could help the Naval Academy or West Point and help the whole world.
I mean, Lila's brothers called me a bully his whole life, so I think that worked out just fine.
Yes.
But you
what's
two are
cool,
awesome.
West Point does a really cool thing where they to prepare for our day, like your first day of Beast, they let anyone kind of sign up and come in and try it because they need to practice before that first day. So like we had our athletic director come in and he was a new cadet for the day. So he went through and they pushed him through and they're yelling at him and like you get to try it for fun. Like it's like a you get
So
a
not
Wow.
just military people, like a civilian can do it?
civilian could like do the practice our day where you kind of they push you through like so they can practice for the real thing. So
Okay. So we're going to start off with Stacy Fernandez's TRX class first. That'll be our first live podcast. But if that one is a big sell, maybe we'll do that. We'll do a
Yeah,
day of
I
Beast
love it.
Summer. Well, this
You
was
two are
super
awesome.
fun.
You guys were so good. So good. And
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your service.
Was that less stressful than you thought it was going to be?
yeah,
Yes.
it was a lot
Okay.
better,
Yeah.
but it was fun. And we were excited
Uh,
to come.
You two are great.